The biology of feminine submission and restoring relational order. Hierarchy is not merely a construct of governance, it is the very architecture of stability in human relationships. Most societies that reject hierarchy crumble under the weight of their own chaos, and relationships follow the same law. Today, in modern relationship, we have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, or often an inversion of roles at the detriment to our highest physical, psychological, and spiritual actualization. Whether we accept it or not, men are always leading. Even when they appear to follow, they are making a choice, one that stems not from true submission, but from concession. The nature of their biology ensures this. As Yolanda Clark insightfully has said, a man can never truly submit to a woman. He can only ever concede. This is because his submission is never biological based on his capacity for physical dominance. He may choose to defer, but this is not submission. It is a conscious concession. True, positive submission, a yielding that comes from a woman's anchor of trust in life's inherent uncertainty that is extended to the consciousness of the man of her choosing, is an expression of a woman's biology. We know this because it restores her, often on a level she didn't know needed restoration. It is a return to her natural state in a world that has attempted to remake her in an image of excess yang energy. On the flip side, a man is not restored by his constant concession. Leadership and followership are complementary energies that create order. In its most natural and primal form, leadership belongs to males. A man, by virtue of his physical superiority and biological makeup, carries an inescapable responsibility of leading, and again, whether he chooses to exercise it or not, has no bearing on the fact that he always is. His energy is always setting the terms of the existing dynamic. Everybody wants to be the fucker, and nobody wants to be fucked. By Nicole Daedone. This is not a doctrine of oppression, but a law of nature. Only in a society that exalts leadership and views submission as weak and undesirable do we rail against being in such a position. A woman may resist, she may fight, but her body ultimately desires the clarity of knowing she is protected, guided, and most importantly, owned in the most sacred and loving way. Ownership in this context is not slavery. It is not the eradication of autonomy, but the full expression of feminine unfurling and surrender. Women are not designed to exist to wander the world alone or in the cold isolation of independence. They are designed to be tethered, held, and contained, bound to the path of a man whose consciousness she co-signs on from the depths of her being and knowing. A woman does not rationally decide to submit to a man. It is not a logical conclusion she arrives at based off of a checklist with all the boxes ticked, but a biological impulse, one that she has to restore the capacity to be in touch with by establishing a sense of internal safety, or else she will fear it. Her body, not her mind, chooses the man to whom she will make this offering to. This is why forced submission weakens women, and coerced leadership or dictatorship crumbles under its own falseness. A woman must perceive, on a deep cellular level, that the man before her is brilliant and flawed, brilliantly flawed. She is no victim here. This is not a kinky performance or indulgence in parentification. A woman's surrender is a quiet and embodied potency that rests in how she orients her energy to life and the man of her heart. As the responder of her call, his leadership is so deeply influenced by the frequency that she emits. In yielding, she does not lose herself. Rather, she energetically summons forth the highest expression of the man before her. Her surrender is not passive or resigned. It is deeply active beneath the surface, influencing, inspiring, and setting the unspoken tone of the relationship. While the world often glorifies overt displays of control, the feminine influence operates in subtle and profound ways. It does not demand, it does not force, yet it transforms and creates. Much like a woman conceives and gestates and births a child, all without having to do a single thing. Surrender is her power position. A woman's willingness to be vulnerable and led does not make her weak. It makes her an alchemist. It is not submission for the sake of being lesser. It is an offering that illuminates what is hidden and needs to be revealed inside of his consciousness. It is the space that allows for the void to be filled with rightful awareness. By trusting him, she raises his unseen depths to the surface. A woman that allows the force of life to move through her rather than insert her egoic will unto life wields a silent authority that cannot be grasped through force or control. She does with him what he does with God. The modern world, with its inverted values, has attempted to unwrite this reality. Women are encouraged to become their own leaders and protectors, to deny their instinct to yield, and to reject the quiet ecstasy of being kept. But this comes at a cost. When a woman rejects or denies her nature, she is not liberated. She is hardened and caged. On a biological level, when she places herself in an environment that forces her testosterone levels to rise, it compels her to take on burdens that elicit self-protection instead of suppleness and guardedness instead of receptivity, which all work to further remove her from her female nature, which is her birthright. To reject hierarchy in relationships is to reject the design of nature. It is to embrace dysfunction as the norm and to deny oneself the peace that comes with stepping into one's rightful role. The real slavery is falling for the attempts of neutralization as a form of progress. The erasure of what makes us all so deeply human is the cause for so much of the hollow, confused, and directionless energy people experience now. My role in restoring hierarchy in relationships is about supporting women in returning to their rightful nature as females. In its truest state, femininity is expansive, receptive, and deeply tender and loving as she bathes in the kingdom of his shielding. But it cannot flourish in biological conflicts or inversions. It requires a container, just as water requires a vessel to take shape. A healthy, loving man whose instincts are online can provide that container. The kingdom of heaven is simply a man and a woman who have restored the biological laws within their own being and therefore exist as offerings for one another to live out their innate roles that, like puzzle pieces, fit together and return to one image. This is the image of God. Beyond the duality of leader-follower, yin and yang, lies the ultimate truth and the purpose of the one. The modern world may scoff at this idea. It may demand equality in all things, mistaking sameness for fairness. But fairness is not found in forcing men and women into neutralization. It is not found in being the same and getting to live out the same agendas or engage in the same landscapes without consequences. Living in Edenic harmony is not fair, but it is good. It is found in allowing men and women to embody the fullness of their respective natures and maintaining their individual hormonal statuses. It is within this sacred structure that love, in its highest form, can truly flourish. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned for my next essay. That I don't know what it is yet, but it will be out soon.